Start. Yes. So, very good morning to all of you. So, we are going to start our new semester, which is the name of the paper is Statistics for Social Science 2. So, already we have studied the statistics for social science first, right, in the last semester. Now we will go for the second. So now already since last 1 week you are experiencing this virtual classes. So we are going to continue that. We know that this is unavoidable circumstances or unavoidable reason. We have to begin. We have to start whatever the existing systems we are having. We have to continue with that, right? So the world is moving, so we can say that we always say that change is the law of nature, correct? Change is the law of nature. So like that, we have to also change according to what we require in these situations. We have to adapt the system which is now going on. So in that situation we have to cope up, we have to manage ourselves to achieve our goals, to reach to our destination which we have kept in our mind. So that's why we have to adapt, or we have to update ourselves to the existing system, correct? So I said that change is the law of nature. We can say the same word in a different way. Change is the only constant in a nature. Change is the only constant in a nature. Otherwise, all are variable, isn't it? So like that, we have to cope up, we have to manage whatever the system is existed. We know that it is not like that you people are only having some problems or some issues. Similarly, with us it is happening, because this is a totally new system, right? So we all of us are experiencing this whole system first time. Okay, but always if when whatever the problems or situations, issues will arises, that will, we should not take always it as a problem. We have to take it as an opportunity, right? So we'll take this as an opportunity and we'll all work together to solve this issue and to make it perfect, and to achieve our ultimate goal of the life, right? So with this small I will say this pandemic introduction, I will start with our course. So last semester we have studied the different things, like we have studied from basics to different measures, right? So suppose if I want to conduct a study, or if I want to write a project, or else if I want to write a research article, right? So what kind of things we have to do, and how we can do all these things with a logical way, with a scientific way. So we have studied that. For example,
Excuse me, sir. I think some students are in the waiting room.
so Kundan, please, Kundan. So Ruth, so what I will do, I will assign you as a co-host, so you can admit that. Just give a minute. So meanwhile, I will admit all this. Uh, I can't do that. What happened? Hello, Kundan. Kundan. Hello, Kundan.
हा बोला सर.
ऍडमिट करा, स्टुडंट येत आहेत.
हो ऍडमिट आहेत सगळे.
नाही, आता मी केले 2-4.
बर बर ठीक आहे.
नसेल तर ते रुथला तोपर्यंत को होस्ट करा.
ठीक आहे ठीक.
असं काहीतरी करा, अल्टरनेटिव्ह अरेंजमेंट. ओके.
बनवतो.
Yeah. So in the last semester, we have studied the different measures, right? Like a measure of central tendency or a measure of dispersion, right? So these are basic measures. So whenever we are playing with the data, right? So these are the basic measures we have required. These are the basic tools we want. So these are the equipments while doing the study, while doing the research, while writing the project, right? While designing the policy. So if you want to do any things out of it, so you have to have some tools in your hand. That tools should be a scientific, right? That tool should be scientific. That tool should be a logical, so that nobody can question on it. So that's why we have studied the different measures. You know that we have studied the measure of central tendency. Again, in that measure of central tendency, different measures we have studied, like mean, mode, median. We studied measure of dispersion because we thought that one measure is not fitting, or it having some ambiguity. That's why we came to the another measure, and we have studied the another measure called as a measure of dispersion. In that also we have studied the different things, like a different methods, so like a measure mean deviation, like a standard deviation. So why we are doing this? Because whenever we are doing any studies, any research, it should go more and more accurate, more precise, more scientific. So for all this purpose, so we are studying all these things now. So I will share my screen now. We will start with our what are the curriculum and what is the course which we are going to study in this semester. So I will start with that. So if anyone have in between any problem, please they can unmute and they can ask me. They can stop me at any point of time if they have any problem, any queries. So is it visible now, Ruth? Okay. So now we'll start with this. So these are the main topics we are going to cover. These are the 3 units. So one is the bivariate frequency distribution. So what is meant by bivariate? Bi means 2, right? Bivariate frequency distributions. So where we are going to study the frequency of 2 variables, right? 2 variables means bivariate frequency. Means what? Till now what we did, we have studied with the single variables, isn't it? We find out the mean or find out the mode. So now we are going to study more variables. We are more interested to see their relationship between these 2 variables, or 2 or more than 2 variables. So study of all these things is nothing but the bivariate frequency distribution. So in that we are going to study 2 main things. One is a correlation, another is a regression, right? So this is a continuation with the earlier topics where we reached up to the standard deviation. Now we will go further for the correlation and regressions. So what we understand in the last semester, we have studied that how to find the averages, how to find the dispersion. Dispersion means what? Consistency of the data, or consistency, if you want to understand consistency of the particular any person or any employer of your company, like that also we can study by measure of dispersion. But we want more than that. We want to understand the relation between the 2 variables, right? And what kind of relation it is. First we have to understand what is their relation. Suppose once we knew that the relation is like that, so based on that relation, can we do something? Can we predict something? Can we come with some forecasting kind of things or not? So for this purpose we have to study regression, right? So to understand the relation between 2 or more than 2 variables, we require a correlation. And to predict based on these 2 variables or more than 2 variables, or after understanding their relation or degree of their relations, we want to predict. So for the prediction purposes, for forecasting purposes, we have to study the regression. So after that, so in unit 2 we are going to study the probability and probability distribution. So now, before that, what we have studied, we have deal with the frequency, isn't it? Now, what we'll do, we'll take this unit number 2 and unit number 3 means it is a inferential statistics, right? Where we can use some probability laws to study the different things, different problems. We are going to study the some probabilities laws where we seen the distribution of the frequency. So but here we will see the different phenomena, but the logic behind this both the concept is the same. So in that probability distributions, we will see the probability and its what is meant by probability, basic laws of the probabilities, and we will solve some problems or examples based on the probabilities. And we saw how frequency distribution happens. Same things we are interested to see how the probability distribution happens, right? So that we are going to study in the unit number 2. So unit number 3 is a introduction to parametric and non-parametric tests. So there are different tests are existed in qualitative research methods. So we are going to study these different parametric and non-parametric tests, and also what is the hypothesis, what kind of hypotheses are there, types of the hypothesis, when we are using the hypothesis, how we can test this hypothesis. So that kind of things we are going to study in a unit number 3. So we'll go detail one by one unit. So in correlations, we are going to see the relation between two variables, what I said just now. For examples, we are interested. So examples will come later on. We'll see one by one. Second, the relationship is there. So that relationship is what kind of relationship? Is it a linear relationship or a non-linear relationship? So that also I will explain later on. So we can study this correlation by using scatter plots. It is one of the method to understand the relationship between the two variables by using a scatter plot method. Then there is another method called as correlation coefficient method. So one of the statistician in 18th century, so he came with one formula called as Karl Pearson correlation coefficient. So he gave that formula so that we can say how much these two variables are correlated, or it is correlated or not. Is there a relation is there or not? If it is there, how strong that relation it is, or there is a no relation. So we can tell that by using its correlation coefficients. Again, calculation of correlation coefficients, generally it is denoted by R. We'll see later on that. So next is a rank correlation. So whatever he gave Karl Pearson, it was applicable for quantitative data. Suppose some qualitative data is also there, then how we can find their correlation? So for that purpose, we require another method that is called as a rank correlation. Regression. So regression, in that we'll see the regression lines, how to draw the regression line, interpretation of regression line, and regression analysis, and this. Up to this we are going to study in the unit number 1. So relation means what? We are going to find the relation between two variables. I am repeatedly saying the relations. We are going to study the relationship. Means what? For examples, now you can take this current situation. You can take an is there is a relation between the economy and COVID-19? Is there a relation between the physical health and mental health? Is there is a relation between a height and weight? Is there relation between the cold and cough? So it is there or not, we don't know. All right. So we are interested to find this relation between these two different kind of variables. Somebody, rather than giving direct statement, we can say either there is a relation is there or not. right? So suppose advertisement is there and sale is there. Is there is a relation between these two variables or not? Advertise matters on sale or not, right? If you want to increase the sale, advertise plays the role or not. So one set is the advertisement, expenditure on advertisement. Another is which is data getting on the sale. So these two variables, one is advertisement, another is sale. Really there is a relation between these two variables or not? So to understand all these things, or suppose somebody is interested mental health and physical health, right? All those who are physically healthy, are they are mentally healthy or not? We are interested to understand these things scientifically. So how we are going to study that? To understand these, we have to study the correlation. Correlation means it will give the relations, bonding between two variables, how much they are bonding, right? So that is nothing but the correlation. Demand, supply, price, you can take any two variables, and we are interested to understand their relation between these things, right? What regression will give? Regression will give the, if you want to say a simple definition of regression, regression is nothing but the mathematical formulation of correlation. Simple state way, if we want to define regression in a single statement, so we can say that regression is nothing but mathematical formulation of correlation. But what does it mean exactly? What regression will give? Regression will give forecasting. Means what? You will have one data in your hand, another data is in another hand. Suppose X variable and Y variable data is there. Means what? Suppose we have the different data of temperature in last 1 week, and we want to predict about the rainfall, right? Generally you might be heard the new, generally we hear the news that so in coming 24 hours you will get heavy rains, okay? In a coastal area you will get a cyclone, okay, of this much speed, right? So how they are predicting all these things? It is based on only regression, right? So what they will do, they will collect the information of different temperature, sea pressure, and other parameters or other variables. They will take all the data in hand. They will use the mathematics, right? And they can predict if this much of sea pressure is there, this much of temperature is there, then what will happen, right? So they having the previous data, then they will collect that information and they can predict, right? So that's why we are getting the news before the cyclone comes. Sometimes cyclone, the prediction, it is a prediction. Statistics laws are not exact, right? These are the predictions, more or less it will be correct, but that will give the results. So to overcome that problem, to manage the situation, we have to study the regression. Suppose if we will do the lockdown of 20 days, how much infection will stop? We want to understand. So we will collect the data from last week, right? And we'll collect the number of infection, right? Just an example. So if I will increase the same numbers in a future number of days, so how much infection I am going to reduce? So if we want to understand this also, so we can use the regression, right? So this regression will help you to forecast, to prediction, or to manage the situation in future, right? So that is nothing but a regression. Or else I just gave one more example that of advertisement and sale. Suppose if I spend 1 lakh on advertisement, how much sale I will get? Vice versa, if I want sale of 1 crore, how much money do I spend on the advertisement? So if we want to understand this, so regression will play very important role in all these things. So generally, this is very useful in industries and all these things. They will do the market surveys with dependent and independent variables, and they will do the analysis. After that analysis, they will decide how much productions they have to do. Now you know that the situation of market is very tough, right? There is no selling of four-wheelers, there is no selling of two-wheelers, right? So then company has to think, so how much these vehicles we have to produce in coming 1 month, right? So how much shift we have to run it? Suppose demands are coming more, then how much things we have to produce? How much manpower we will require? So producing one vehicle, if I require 5 people in one unit, suppose I want to increase to 100 vehicle per day. So how much manpower I have to deploy on the different units? So to judge all these things, to manage all these things, we require the again regression. So that's why regression is very important. So let us move to the next. So in a probability, in second unit 2, we'll see the basic concepts in a probability. What is the probability? What exactly probability is? What are the different concepts in the probabilities? What is the deterministics and random experiments? What is the trial, outcome, sample space, events? I think most of you might have been studied in your 12th, all these things, exclusive, inclusive, exhaustive, right? Favorable outcomes, all these things we are going to study. So we'll take a definitions and we'll take a one example based on each concept. So in probabilistic distributions, so there are 3 different distributions are there. One is called as a binomial distribution, the distribution which is given by a binomial. Another is a Poisson, so the distribution discovered by one of the statistician called as a Poisson. So we'll see that. And third one is a normal distributions. So again here we have to see that obviously why one distribution is there, why another distribution is required, what is the limitation of first distribution, what is the limitation of second distribution, and which is the limitation for about 2, so that we require the another distribution called as a normal distribution. So normal distribution is the best distribution. Generally people uses this distribution in their research, and based on this we will solve example for all the distributions, and we can see how we can apply this distribution in our day-to-day life, or in our research, or in for future research as well. So we can study these things in a probability distribution. So third unit is about the parametrics and non-parametric testings. So there will be the different tests are there: t-test, z-test, chi-square test, one-way ANOVA test. So these are the different tests. So based on which kind of samples you are having, based on which sample you are choosing, so according to that we have to choose the different tests. It is not like that. So you will suppose if you want to study about the current situations and you have collected the data, and suppose you have used as a sampling as a random sampling, so can we use for that t-test or a z-test or a chi-square test? So it is not any thumb rule like that I can use t-test for all kind of sampling. No. So it is based on which kind of sampling methods you are using in your study. So according to that we are going to use the different tests. So we are going to study that. So also in that the same we are going to study the hypothesis. What is mean by hypothesis? How to write a hypothesis, right? If I want to frame my hypothesis, how I can frame that hypothesis? So types of hypothesis are there. There are null hypothesis is there, alternative hypothesis is there. Why we require these 2 different hypotheses in our research? So in what situations we we use this as a hypothesis in our research. So is there mandatory to have your hypothesis for your research or not? Right. So all these questions we are going to study in a hypothesis testings, and we'll study some examples. How if you have the null hypothesis, then how to say that this null hypothesis is failed. So that's why we require the another hypothesis called as an alternative hypothesis. So all these things we are going to study in a unit number 3. So this is mostly you will use in your research, and this is for your future research as well. So now coming to the first unit, so we'll start with the correlation. What is the correlation? Already I said that correlation refers the relation between two or more than two variables, right? So here few examples are already given, that the relation between height of father and son. So we want to understand that there is a relation. If the height of the father is high, then obviously it should be to the son or not. So if you want to understand, means that is again biological part, genetical part is there. But apart from that, if you want to study statistically, so we can study that by using correlations. So yield and rainfall. Suppose this year we are getting 500 millimeter rainfall in Osmanabad district. You know that already we are in drought prone areas. So what will be the condition? If I will get the rainfall of 500 millimeters, so how much yield I will get? So really, is there relation between the rainfall and yield? Is there is a relation between rainfall and prices or produce or not? Again, there are different examples already I am quoting here: wages and price index. So you just go through this price. What is the price index? So in different time and different days, they will fix the rates, wages rates. So we have to understand there is a relation between wages and price index. And already which I have mentioned, that lockdown and economy, is there is a relation or not? If you want to understand correlation between these two variables, or somebody is very interested to understand the livelihood and lockdown, right? So we usually tells that there are a lot of labors were returned from so many industries. So is the relation is there or not? So means what? Correlation is a statistical analysis which measures and analyze the degree or extent to which the two variables fluctuate with reference to each other. It will give the degree of the relation between two variables, right? It indicates that there is some connection between the variables or not, or it measures a closeness of the relationship. So correlation does not indicate the cause and effect of the relationship, right? So it will give the relation. It won't indicates what are the cause behind that, what are the reason behind that. So it won't explain correlation. Correlations work up to only give the relations. So by different researchers give the different definition to the correlation. So correlation analysis attempts to determine the degree of the relations between two variables, right? So Yak-Hun Chu, he defined the correlation in this way. So correlation is an analysis of covariation between two or more variables, right? Ultimately, it gives the relation between two or more variables. So in that also there are one variable we called as, suppose there are set of two variables, we will consider an x, we will consider an y. So there is one will be independent, another will be dependent, right? So like that. So we will measure the relationship between these variables, dependent and independent variables. So what are the uses of this correlation? It is used in physical and social sciences. As I explained so many examples, I have given so many examples how we can use the concept of correlation in our day-to-day life, in industries and in economics. Everywhere you can use by business, right? So it is useful for economists to study the relation between the variables like a price, quality, demand, supply, everything will be based on this only. Businessmen estimates the cost, sell price, right, using the correlation. So it is helpful in measuring the degree of the relationship between the variables like income and expenditure, price and supply, supply and demand, etc. Also, it is helpful to calculate the sampling error. It is the basis for the concept of the regression. So for regression, it is the base. Correlation is the base for a regression. So let us see one of the method as a scattered diagram. So by using a scattered diagram, we can understand the correlation between two variables. This is the simplest method, I can say, but it has having some limitation. We'll see later on. Suppose you have a data of X and data of Y, then we can plot as usual on X axis. You can consider one set and another set of numbers you will consider on the Y, and you can measure their relationship by using this method. So now no graph is here, so I will try to do that. So what is that? If all the plotted points from a straight line from the lower left hand corner to the upper hand corner, then there is a perfect positive correlation, right? Means what? So I will try to draw these things, and is it visible, this line, or I can change the?
It's visible, sir.
Okay, thank you. Right, so this is supposed to be y-axis and this is to be x-axis, right? And suppose you know this, what is this line? Okay, it is not coming accurate, but consider it is a straight line, all right? And so this is your x-axis, and suppose this is your y-axis, and suppose the observations which you, these dotted points are visible, Ruth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are the your points, means, so these are the data you are plotting X versus Y, right? If your all information or all data is scattered to the towards this line, right, it is very close to this straight line, then you can say that it is a perfect positive correlation between X and Y. Suppose X is supposed to be in height and Y is supposed to be in a weight, right? And you have the set of data X as an height and Y as an weight, right? And suppose we are trying to put all this on the graph, and the graphical representation is like this, it came like this, then you can say that all the points on the graph are very close to this line, means there is a perfect correlation between height and weight, right? So we'll see the another, it is called as a perfect positive correlation. X increases, Y increases. X is also the change in X proportionally change in Y, right? So that is called as a perfect positive correlation. So now we'll see perfect negative correlation. Suppose the graph is like this, and your points, let me change this. Oh, this is also not visible, so it is better. Okay, so these points are visible. So yeah, So suppose these are your points, right? And you are going to see that if all your observations are like this, right? You have the X data and if you have the Y data, and if you try to put it on the graphical way, and suppose this is coming in this way, then you can say that it is a perfect negative correlation, because your all the points, all the data is very close to the line y is equals to. Somebody can tell me the equation of this line, please? Ruth, can you tell this what will be the equation for this line? Yes, Shankar, will you respond this question? Hello?
Y equal to 1 by x.
Y is equals to 1 by x. And what about this one, first one?
Y equal to x.
It is 1 by x or minus x?
Both are same, right?
This is a line. The graph of 1 by
That
x will be the line.
X does not go to negative, sir. So it is currently 1 by x.
That is based on what x you are choosing. That's true. Yeah. No, I'm saying y is equals to minus x. What will be the graph?
This.
Okay. So means what happening here? If your x is increasing, y is decreasing. Simple way. So we can say that supposed to be age and number of work hours, right? As age increases, the efficiency of work, right? In concerns of physical work, I can more specify if you want, right? So if you want to put as an age in x-axis and physical work in y-axis, so it will be decreasing. So this will be nothing but if your points are coming like this, so you can say that this is a perfect negative correlation. Is it clear? Is it clear? This perfect positive correlation and perfect negative correlation, right? Your points are lying close to your y is equals to this line, then you can say that it is a perfect positive correlation. And if the points are like this, then you can say the perfect negative correlation. So what is the another possibility? I think I have to remove this. 1 minute, please. Okay. So we'll move to the next. No correlations. There are two variables. You have to put it in on the x-axis and y-axis. So if the plottings are coming like this, so some points are in different directions. There is no any you can say like this, and some points are here, some points are here, some points are here, like that. So you can say in this way, there is a no correlation between these two variables x and y, right? Is it clear? So we will move to the next one. What is happening now? I noted. So I have to erase this first. Yes, so we'll see the next concept. So what are the merits and demerits of the correlation? It is a simple means particularly for scattered plot method. So what we did, we just take the values of x and values of the y and we try to put it on the Cartesian coordinate system by using a Cartesian coordinate system. and we try to understand between the relations. So if the points are very close to y is equals to mx plus c line, then we are saying that it is perfect positive correlation, or it is negative, then you can set perfect negative correlation. And if they are very scattered in whole plane, then you are telling that there is no correlation, right? So what are the merit? It is the simplest and attractive method to find the nature of the correlation between two variables. It is a non-mathematical method of studying a correlation. It is okay. So it is easy to understand. So it is not affected by the extreme points. Okay. It is the first step in finding out the relation between the two variables. So we can have a rough idea at a glance whether it is a positive correlation or a negative correlation. So what is the demerit? By this method, we cannot get the exact degree of correlation between the two variables. Also, now you have the x and y. It is very easy to do that. Suppose if you have more than two variables, then again it having the different limitations, right? So let us see the different type of the correlation. So first is a positive and negative correlations, which just we have seen. Next is a linear and non-linear, partial and total, simple and multiple. What is the positive and negative that we understand? So x is varying, y is also similarly varying. X is decreasing, y is decreasing. X is increasing, y is increasing. Then we call it as a positive correlation. If it is not, x is increasing, y is decreasing, or vice versa. X is decreasing, y is increasing. Like that also, you can say it is a negative correlation. Means if both the variables are moving to the same directions, then you can say it as a positive correlation. If they are moving in an opposite direction, then you can say it as a negative correlations. So there are few examples are here already noted. Please go through that. Right. So price and demand, these are the examples of the negative, means opposite directions. One increasing, other decreasing, like age and health. As age increases, health deteriorates, right? After certain period of time or after certain age, so you may affect with some other chronic diseases or like that, or what I said, another example as efficiency of work, that will also decreases. So like that. So these are the examples of the negative correlation. So next is a linear and non-linear relations. So already we have seen in our, I think, first year itself, what is the linear and what is the non-linear. We can use the idea, same idea here itself. So if the thumb definition of the linearity is nothing but the graph of that function should be a line, isn't it? If it is not like that, we can usually say that it is a non-linear function. It is the same here also, it is applicable is same. So if you can see the first example, linear, suppose there are variable x and the variable y, and you have data of x and data of y. The change is a constant, means what here? Your slope. Because in linearity, what it will come? It will come as a slope. Slope is there, slope will be the constant. If it is a moving with a constant number, then you can say that this is the linear correlation between these two variables, right? It is not, yes. Hello. Hello. Ruth?
Yes, sir.
Anyone having problem?
I don't think so, sir.
Okay, so let's move ahead. Right. If that rate of change is the constant throughout the things, then you can say that it is a linear. Otherwise, it is a non-linear. So if you can see here in a variable x and y, so the change is constant in y. As x is moving 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, the y is moving 3, 6, means difference of 3, 3, 3, 3. Right, that is your m is nothing but here 3, right? So if that change is a constant, then you can say that there is a relation between these linear relation between these two variables x and y. So such a correlations we are calling it as a linear correlation. Okay. So next is what? Non-linear. Non-linear means what? There will not be a constant change. It means in first 2 points, if you can see here, x is 2, then y is 5. Second, it is a 4, it is a 17. So it is unpredictable in changes in x and y. Or if you want to see in a earlier method, their graphs will come some different weights, right? It won't come like a linear weights, non-linear. So it will be a curves, right? So that kind of natures will be there between the graphs between the two variables x and y. Then we are calling it as a non-linear relation, right? Non-linear correlation between variable x and y. Let us see the next. Next is a simple. Simple and multiple. These are the two again different correlations. When we are studied only two variables, say x and y, then that relation is simple linear relation. We can put a linear also. So quantity of money and price level, demand and price, weight and height. So where we are dealing with only two variables, right? So there we will call as a simple correlation. What is the multiple? If there are more than two variables are added. For examples, I gave the one example that demand and supply, right? So if we can add third variable as a purchasing power of the people, right? My x is the demand, my x is the sell, y is an advertisement, and z is a purchasing power of the people, right? So means there are three different variables are involved. To find or to understand the relations, you have to understand all the three things, right? So it is nothing but a multiple correlation where there are two or more than two variables are involving. So here again you can see here there is one example, the relationship of price, demand and supply of a commodity. For example, you can take any commodity, no problem. So it is between that. Or there will be a rainfall, yield and demand, right? So you can take any different variables. So that we call as a multiple correlation. So there are again partial and total correlations. Suppose if in some example you find different more than two variables, sometime their effect will be a direct effect. Explicitly they will involve in that whole process, or sometime implicitly, or sometime we will consider it as a constant. Suppose in advertise and sale, if I am putting another variable z as supposed to be a purchasing power of people, and suppose if I put it as a constant, and if I am dealing with only two variables, so that is nothing but a partial, right? This is nothing but a partial correlations we are finding between these two variables, right? And total means whatever the variables are existed, and we are taking consideration of each and every variable for our study, then that is nothing but a total correlation, right? So this is the meaning of the different correlations. So but here we are going to study the only linear correlation. So Carl and Pearson, so he in a end of the 18th century, he first came with the new word called as a standard deviation first, and after that he gave one more formula for as a correlation. So what he did, he came with some formula and one constant. That coefficient is denoted by generally R, Carl Pearson coefficient R, and the range of R between -1 to 1. So R will lies between -1 to 1. Based on value of R, you will tell that what kind of relation between these two variables, right? This is the one of the method called as Karl Pearson method. So for example, here I gave some value of R and its interpretation. Suppose your R is lies between 0.8 to 0.1. After doing all the manipulation, suppose you got R is equals to between 0.8 and 0.1, then you will say that very strong relation between these two variables X and Y. Suppose the value of R is to be 0.6 and 0.8, then you can say that there is a strong relation between these two variables. Similarly, I said that it is a positive and negative. Let's see here. Yeah, no, it is here itself. We can see if it is a point minus 0.8 to minus 1, then you can say that very strong negative correlation, right? If it is a minus 0.6 to minus 0.8, then you can say that there is a negative strong correlation between X and Y. Similarly for others also, right? So as a thumb rule, you can say that it is a 0.1, 0.9 to 1, it is a very high correlation. If 0.7 to 0.9, you can say that it is high correlation. For example, number of hours you are spending for study and your grade points, right? Is there is a relation between these two or not, right? And suppose, for example, your R is getting like this, some 0.1 to 0.9 to 0.1, or supposed to be 0.95, then we can make the statement, or we can interpret like that, there is a very strong correlation between the number of hours you are spending for study and getting a grades, right? And suppose it is coming like in between some 0.3 or 2.5 or 0 to 0.3, then you can say that no, there is no relation between how many hours you are studying and getting a grades, right? So what is the Karl Pearson gives the formula? He gave the formula like this. It is defined like way: R is equals to N into summation XY. What is the N? N is nothing but the total number of observations, right? Total number of observation. What is the X? X is the one variable and Y is the another variable. These are the data set. X is one data set, Y is the another data set. And this in numerator, N into summation XY minus summation of X into summation of Y. So if you remember that, so we have proved in last semester, summation XY is not equals to summation X into summation Y. So if it will be the same, so every time your RA will become 0, but it is not true. That's why he wrote like that. Divided by under root N into summation X square. Here also you have to check summation of X square into summation of X bracket square, right? So it is again difference. So X is first variable and Y is the second variable. So we'll see one example how we can work out using this through. Ruth, can we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll see based on this example, we'll see one example. So, but you have to do yourself this all the calculations. I'm not going to solve here on this. So here are the two examples are there. One is height, another is weight. We have collected the sample of 10 different people whose height is this and whose weights are this, right? So we are interested to see that really there is a correlation between height and weight or not, right? And another example is study time versus error in a test. Suppose if he is going to study these many minutes and errors are getting these. So this is X data, this is Y data. Either there is a relation between these two or not. So we are going to solve these two examples by using a Karl Pearson coefficient method R. So you have to do all the things. So just I am here explain how you can solve this by using Karl Pearson method. So what you will do, already this is a given data. You know the value of x's, you know the value of y. So what require to solve this total formula? What else you want? You want xy. So here again you have to do one more column, say x and y. What else you want there? X square you want, y square you want, right? So do x square, another column, create another column, say y square, and after doing this you have to find the sum of all these things. Sum of x, right? So you can do that. So same kind of example already we have solved in last semester. So again you have to find here summation xy, and once you will get all these values, summation x, summation xy, and summation x square, then putting all these values of what you will get R. And suppose your R is lies between 0.8 to 0.9 or 0.9 to 1, then you can say that you can interpret that there is a strong correlation between height and weight, right? Similarly you can do for the second examples. So with you have to solve this example. I am not going to solve here, but I have mentioned that what you will do. So x is there, y is there, so multiply this, so this number will come here, so this number will come this, so like that you have to find these squares. After product of these two, you have to find the x square, you have to find the y square, like this, and add all these sums. Then you will get these sums, and then you put all the values in this formula, so you will get finally your R.